Hello, folks. Dr. Matt Moynihan here from the Fusion Podcast. Wanted to give an update for November 2021. It's been a couple months since I've done an update. I think my last one was back in August. Big news back then was the breakthrough results from the National Ignition Facility. They had recorded a 1.3 megajoule shot coming off of their target, which was a major record, but it's still not a gain of 1. It's a gain of 0.7. They were just at the APS conference in early November presenting these results. So by their own definition, they have not reached ignition, which is a little bit upsetting. So we're all hoping that they reach a gain of 1 shortly, and I think they can do it. They talked about a new target design with divots on both sides that led to a better compression wave. They've also discussed stopping distance. They can shrink the stopping time for the energy to improve compression. So these are the two innovations that they presented on at the APS conference that they believe led to this improved target result. So it's an exciting result from Livermore. Well, it's been a wild couple of months. Outside of the academic sphere, in private fusion, we've had some insane announcements. September 5th, Commonwealth announced a 20 Tesla cold bore magnet that set a world record. They built this magnet with 250,000 meters of yttrium wire that can conduct over 700 amps per square millimeter. Just to give you a sense of that, a typical copper wire goes about 2 to 3 amps per square millimeter of cross section. So this one wire is 350 times stronger than a copper wire, allowing for insane superconducting electromagnets to be built. This got a lot of attention. National press, Financial Times, New York Times, Nature, Boston Globe called me for a quote. Very exciting. And it also softened the ground. Commonwealth and MIT have the kind of legitimacy that no other fusion team can have. And so when they made that announcement, we kind of got attention from all quarters, even places and organizations that I never thought would care about fusion, like the U.S. Congress and the Defense Department, and multiple investors and corporations are now taking interest. Heard from official that they are getting attacked by investors that are interested in putting money into fusion now. So it's a completely different ball game. It's starting to feel like a gold rush around here. That's concerning because we'll probably see in the next 6 to 18 months somebody come forward with a hoax claiming that they could get net power in their garage without a lot of training or without a lot of real evidence behind it. So if you're out there, if you're an investor, keep your eyes peeled for charlatans, keep your eyes peeled for other folks peddling false narratives about fusion, because we're probably due for some of that. But let's talk about that innovation. A 20 Tesla magnet made by Commonwealth really wasn't an accomplishment for a fusion company. No. It was an accomplishment for the high temperature superconducting wire manufacturing industry. That's the reality. Because up until now, everyone has wanted to use high temperature superconducting wire, but nobody could do it because you couldn't buy the quantity, quality that you needed at a reasonable price. But back in 2019, Commonwealth placed the single largest order for HTS wire in the history of the industry. And they put that out for the global market, and they said any wire manufacturing company that can meet this order will get our money. And one firm was able to do that, SuperOx, a Russian company located in Moscow. They created an entirely new manufacturing process for making high temperature superconducting wire. It's a process that forms yttrium oxide in nanoparticles and then uses laser sintering and other processes to form continuous wire. And we went from 500 meters of Rebco wire that conducted, about 160 amps per square millimeter to 300,000 meters of yttrium wire that had a 700 amps per square millimeter current density. That's significant. That is a curve-jumping innovation, essentially. In his book, The Art of the Start, Guy Kawasaki talks about this. Guy Kawasaki is a famous Silicon Valley innovator. He's been involved in dozens and dozens of startups. He was best friends with Steve Jobs. He's written a lot of books, given TED Talks. He talks about curve jumps. Curve jumps are essentially innovations where you completely redo the technology. The classic example is mining ice versus factory-produced ice versus refrigerators. It's not a 10% incremental change. It is a complete rework of the technology, and it puts you on a totally different curve where you can now push forward and make small changes and improvements. SuperOx has completed this. No other company in the world has done this. No American company has done this. And this is a major deal, and it's something the Defense Department and the US government needs to pay attention to, because this wire has implications way beyond fusion. HTS wire can be used in basically dozens of other markets where HTS wire could be used. And no American firm can do what SuperOx did right now. There are no American suppliers that can come close to that level of performance, scale, and cost. So we need to catch up. We are now playing catch up in a major, major way. And if you fund fusion, you can also fund this technology, which has real implications for American jobs right now. We can create electromagnets and HTS wire that touches multiple markets on our way to getting net power from a fusion reactor. So there's a huge economic case for funding fusion and funding these innovations. And again, SuperOx didn't get there through some technical breakthrough. What happened was they got money that gave them the latitude to take a big technical risk and reimagine their entire manufacturing process from the ground up. It was the commitment of funding that did it. Okay, so it was a quiet couple of weeks after Commonwealth's announcement, and then in early November, Helion announced $500 million raise, which was very exciting. Up until this point, fusion as an industry, my tally had it at about $2.4 billion. And Helion just raised 20% of that in one single raise. It was the single largest raise in the history of the fusion industry. And it puts us within striking distance of $3 billion for private fusion, which is very exciting. I think Helion's got a scale now, and that's going to be a very challenging process, but I'm sure they'll get through it. Last I checked, their staffing was somewhere between 30 and 40 people, and now they've got $500 million between them. So they've got a lot of work to do to hire basically every plasma physicist on the West Coast, which is going to leave not a lot in the talent pool left over for TAE, General Fusion, Zap Energy, CT Fusion, and everybody else that's trying to form a fusion startup. So it's going to be exciting. If one of these companies does fail, it wouldn't be a terrible thing, because if they left a whole bunch of plasma physicists that were pre-trained just in the job market, that would be fantastic. And after that, there was the APS conference. It was a very good conference this year. We saw some great presentations from Commonwealth, CT Fusion, Zap Energy, General Fusion folks were there. A very exciting conference, and it was a lot of fun, a lot of great posters and presentations, and some wonderful conversations with. And now we're coming to the end of November, and General Fusion just announced a $130 million raise. And we heard rumors that there were going to be two other major raises in the next 4 to 6 months from other fusion companies. So I think in 6 to 8, 12 months, we should be north of $4 billion in private fusion. So this is starting to feel like the Wild West or a gold rush. Silicon Valley investors and other investors are attacking fusion companies and fusion advisor firms. I mean, we're getting insights and interest from all sides now. It's crazy. It's getting crazy. And one of the problems is that we'll probably see there's probably going to be more money than there are firms and people involved in this field. So we'll probably see charlatans or wild claims come forward. That's a concern that I think is real now. I think in the next 6 to 12 months, we might see somebody come forward and claim that they can get net fusion power, in their garage or something. So if you're an investor, you got to keep your eyes peeled, and you got to have the right advisors around you, because a lot of people are going to lose their shirts. The technical challenges around fusion are still high, but we are making great progress. I think the biggest knob on the dial is the magnets, because as you probably all realize, in a magnetized plasma, fusion rate scales as the field power to the fourth. Let me say that again. In a magnetized plasma, the rate of fusion energy produced scales as the magnetic field strength to the fourth power. So if you switch to crazy strong magnets, 10 Tesla, 20 Tesla, 30 Tesla magnets, you will see a huge performance gain in your reactor. And that applies to any and every fusion machine that's using electromagnets in it. So mirrors, stellarators, spherical tokamaks, FRCs, plasma jets, variety of other ideas. They all use magnets to manipulate their plasma, and they will all benefit from these crazy high magnets. So we're in exciting times now. I would say that magnets are essentially the Moore's law of fusion. As the magnets get better, fusion will get better. As the magnets advance, fusion will advance, and advancements in fusion will lead to better magnets and vice versa. So the two fields are inextricably linked, and it's going to be exciting to see what happens. Okay, everyone. Hope you have a great evening. Take care. Bye.